Have you ever wanted something so bad in your life? You tried so hard to get it, you gave it your all, and you just couldn't get it. You just couldn't get it. What's that one thing for you? Well, for a lot of people I know, it's becoming a medical doctor. Becoming a medical doctor. Some pre-meds just want this so bad, so bad, so bad. And I've seen some people who gave it their all, and they just couldn't get over that hump to get into medical school, become medical doctors, et cetera, et cetera. Why is that? Why is that? So I'm going to give you 5 reasons that can prevent you from becoming a medical doctor. 5 things that can prevent you from becoming a medical doctor. What is up, fam? It's your boy, Dr. Dale. This is Pre-Med Monday. So happy Monday. Super excited to dive in to today's lesson with you guys. Remember, Pre-Med Mondays, if you don't have the book, grab a copy of my book. I'll put the link down below somewhere. But we're going through this 52 letters from me to you, guiding you along the pre-medical journey, right? All right, so we're in week number 6. If you missed the first 5 weeks, go back and check them out. But we're in week number 6, and we're talking about 5 things that can prevent you from becoming a medical doctor. You know, so many people are like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. And you're so amped, you're so geeked about it. And you act like it's almost given to you. It's almost guaranteed. Like, hey, since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a doctor. So that means I got to make it. That's not the way it really works. I'll tell you, since I was a little kid, I did want to be a doctor, and it worked out. And I've actually got a letter that I found and I wrote when I was in 3rd grade saying all this. But I started playing basketball probably 3rd, 4th grade, a little bit after. And I wanted to be an NBA player. Right. I wanted it so bad. And I was like, hey, I'll be an NBA player and I could still maybe be a doctor. Those were my 2 things, basketball and becoming a medical doctor. But I worked so hard at basketball. I pushed. I was playing probably more than all my friends. At least I thought I was. And just going. And I was like, I'm going to go to the NBA. I'm going to go to the NBA. I'm going to go to the NBA. I never went to the NBA. I wanted it so bad and I never got there. So just because you want something does not mean that you get that thing. Right? Just because you work hard at something doesn't mean that you get that thing. There are other things that go into success, right? But today, instead of talking about the things that lead to success, I'm going to take it the other way around. I'm going to say, what are 5 things that can prevent you from getting to medical school? What are 5 things that can prevent you from becoming a medical doctor? Because oftentimes, as advisors, mentors, etc., what we do is we always say, you need to do this, do this, do that, do that, do that. But it's equally important, if not maybe even more so important, to say, hey, make sure you don't get caught up in this trap. All right, so let's dive into these 5 things, right? Hit that subscribe button too, by the way, before I forget, right? If you like this stuff, if you want to keep on growing with me, hit subscribe so you can get notified every time I drop a video from my pre-med friends. All right. So number 1, lack of confidence. The first thing that can prevent you from becoming a medical doctor or getting into medical school is lack of confidence. See this all the time. And I dare say this might be the number 1 thing that does prevent pre-medical students from actually making it on this journey. So how does this work, right? You graduate high school. You probably did well in high school. You're super excited to get into college and get your pre-med journey going. This was me, right? Get your college journey going. You get to college, you're super geeked. You're like, yeah, I'm going to crush this pre-med journey. I'm going to become a medical doctor. And you show up for that first test, or it might be maybe not your first, but eventually you run into organic chemistry. Like, I got this, right? I'm going to nail this test. And you study your butt off. You take the test. Boom, you get punched in the face. What happened? You failed the test. And as soon as you fail that test, here's what happens. You got a choice to make. Saddle up, get on your horse, toughen up, get the help you need, keep pushing forward, and turn that bad grade into a good grade. Or you can do what I've seen a lot of people do, cower out, say, man, I'm not good enough for this. I'm not cut for this journey, fall out, and say you're not going to be a doctor anymore. That's the lack of confidence part. That's what I'm talking about. I've seen way too many people go into college thinking like, oh, this is going to be a breeze. It's going to be like high school. You take that first test. It's not like high school. It's not a breeze. You get smacked in the face. And now you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I do? Is this really for me, or is this going to be too hard for me? And here's what's even worse. Sometimes you'll go seek guidance from a variety of people, right? Sometimes you'll go seek guidance. It might be from an advisor at your school. It might be from a friend. It might be from a doctor. And some people might give you this, I don't know what to call it. I'll just use the word bad guidance, I guess, right? But there's more to it than that. But some people might say, you know what? Yeah, maybe you should consider other majors. Have you thought about this? Are you prepared for this journey? Yeah, maybe take some, and they can, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, they can move you away from your path, divert you from your path of going the pre-med journey. I've seen this happen over and over and over again. You say, hey, Dr. Dale, does that really happen? Yes, it really happens, right? I've seen it happen over and over and over again. And next thing you know, you're starting to get this little doubt in your head, like, yeah, maybe it's not for me. That test was pretty hard. Let me go. The second test comes, you get smacked in the face again. It's not for me. It's not for me. Well, let me tell you this. Just because you fail a test, just because you fail a class does not mean you cannot be a medical doctor. Just because you fail a class or a test does not mean you cannot be a medical doctor. As a matter of fact, man, times are changing so much now that the way we learned back in the day and the things that it took to be a great doctor it's not the same as it was today. Even when I went to med school, right in the mid 2000s, it's not the same as it was. Back then, it was all about knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. What do you know? What do you know? What do you know? Right. So if you fail the test, it's like, oh, he doesn't know enough. She doesn't know enough. But nowadays, we're in a resource heavy world, and it's more about, do you know how to access the resource? Do you know how to access and utilize the resources to find your answers? It's not about, do you know the answers? It's, do you know how to utilize the resources to find your answers? It's a different type of learning. It's a different type of practice of medicine now, right? So if you failed that test, or maybe not even fail, get a lower grade on the test, and you don't do as well as you like, if you let your confidence drop, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't think, hey, let me get back on my horse, let me try again, that might be the number one thing that keeps you from becoming a medical doctor, right? And the test was just an example, but the overall idea is anything that might set you back and give you a punch in the face that you're not ready for, your confidence level will determine if you keep on going, if you don't keep on going, and that can determine whether or not you become a medical doctor. So that's number one, lack of confidence. So number two is going to sound strange. The second thing that can prevent you from getting into medical school or becoming a medical doctor is overconfidence. Overconfidence. Yeah, Dr. Dale, you just said lack of confidence was one of the top things. Now you're telling me overconfidence. Shouldn't I want to be overconfident? No, you don't want to be overconfident, right? You want to find that balance, right? You want to find that balance, right? Pride leads to destruction, but you want to find that balance. And here's what I mean when I say overconfidence can ruin you. So people, I've seen it happen. People are just so proud. They have too much pride that they're so confident in themselves. Like, I don't need help. That's the issue right there. When you have too much pride, too much confidence, you might say, I don't need help. Well, guess what? Everybody needs help. Everybody needs help. As a matter of fact, and we'll get to this in the later weeks in the book, but what I've told people for as long as I can remember, if you're a pre-med, if you don't have an A in the class, you should get a tutor. If you're a pre-medical student trying to get to medical school, understanding who you're competing against to become a doctor, if you do not have an A in the class, you should get a tutor for that class, because your goal is not to pass, your goal is not a C, your goal is not a B. As a pre-medical student, your goal is an A. If you don't get it, that's okay, but you want to at least try to work towards that A. So, hey, don't be the guy who says, "Oh man, I gotta be, I can pull up to, hey, I'm gonna do it by myself. I don't need any help. I'm gonna do it by myself." Ask for help. Don't be too confident. Don't have too much pride to ask for help, to know when you don't understand something, right? Don't be that guy or that gal who gets stuck and gets in this cycle of not wanting to ask for help, not wanting to be ashamed, not wanting to feel as though people like think you're dumb. And because of that, your pride gets in your way of asking for help to find the answers you need to get to the places you want to get to. Some of the most successful men and women in the world are that way because they know how to ask for help. Number three, lack of discipline. Lack of discipline. This is a life truth in general, right? And now as a dad of three, this is one of the biggest things that I'm trying to instill in my children is this idea of discipline. People say, "Hey, Dr. Dale, how do you become a great med student? What's the secret to doing great?" People always talking about secret. What's the secret to success? Here's the secret to success. I'm going to give it to you right now. You ready for it? In all fields, not just medicine, the secret to success is really simple. I shouldn't even be telling you guys, man. I shouldn't give you this. You guys should pay me for this. But I'm going to tell you anyways. Discipline. That's the big secret to success. Being disciplined. Here's the deal. We all know what to do, right? You know what to do. And if you don't know what to do, there's ways to figure out what to do along your journey, especially this pre-med journey, right? There's ways to figure out what to do in this pre-med journey. Because you know what to do, or as soon as you figure out what to do, that part is eliminated. The next thing you got to figure out is, how do I stay disciplined to do it? How do I stay disciplined enough to do it? I think about like my oldest boy, he's heavy into basketball. I was playing basketball, and it's very competitive, of course. And I look around and I just watch how other kids, function, how they move, how they go about their business and stuff. I tell my son, I say, everybody knows what to do. Everybody knows what drills. The drills are all out there. It's not like it's a secret. We all go to trainers and stuff, and people pay trainers a lot of money. That's good because trainers a lot of times will have more experience that can help you. But if you really wanted to, everything a trainer is teaching, you can look up, you can figure that stuff out. You can watch it. Yeah, they're gonna have more expertise, but most kids don't need that high level of expertise yet, right? But you can figure out a lot of stuff the trainers tell you, and then just be disciplined to do it. But that's the problem. We're not disciplined. People by nature, a lot of people aren't disciplined. They won't do what they know they need to do on a regular basis. So as a pre-medical student, my question to you is, are you disciplined? Are you doing things that you know you need to do? Are you waking up and studying? Right? Are you doing? You know you got to get some shadowing. You know you got to be part of some organizations, right? Maybe do some research if that's your thing, right? But the grades are really the big thing. Are you being disciplined about your study schedule? Are you being disciplined about your health habits, going to bed on time, right? All these things. The lack of discipline is what leads to failure, and not just medicine, but all fields, but specifically medicine, right? Your room for error might not be as much because it's competitive to get in medicine. So be disciplined in your study habits. Be disciplined in your sleep habits. Be disciplined in your workout habits, right? It's a journey to get to where you're trying to go to. For me, it was a 14-year journey from undergrad all the way through to I finished fellowship and everything. But I loved it, but it was still a journey. Along that process, you need to be disciplined in doing what you're supposed to do. But discipline's a difficult thing, man. Discipline is a difficult thing. A lot of people struggle with the discipline. So be disciplined in your study, be disciplined in your exercise, right? Be disciplined in your faith, your spiritual life. That's one that you can't leave out, man. Along this journey to become a doctor, and as a doctor, I rely on my faith heavily. Be disciplined in these things, as they will take you a long way, right? Number 4, lack of mentorship. So the fourth thing that can prevent you from getting into medical school and becoming a medical doctor is lack of mentorship. This is huge. I say it over and over and over again. The quickest way to get from point A to point B to figure out how to do something is to ask somebody who has done it, right? Point A to point B is a straight line. Well, ask somebody, where's that straight line? How do I do this? How do I go about this? Rather than trying to reinvent the wheel and figure it all out by yourself, ask somebody who's done it and let them help you get there, right? It's not just about asking somebody who's done it, right? There's some differences you need to understand. You've got coaches, you've got counselors, you've got advisors. Those are all unique type of people, right? Those are all different types of people from each other. But then you have a mentor. A mentor is completely different than those individuals. Those are the three can be kind of but a mentor is completely different. The story of mentorship. Let me tell you where the word mentor comes from. In the Odyssey. Odyssey is a book back in the day. There's this guy named Odysseus, right? He's this big hero wartime guy, right? He's going on a journey. He's got to go. I think it might have been the Trojan War or something. He's gonna go fight in this Trojan War, right? Epic battles. Got to go slay the Cyclops and fight all these wars and armies and stuff. But at the end of the day, he's trying to bring glory to his city, to his household, all that stuff. One problem. What's his problem? His problem is he's got a kid at home, Telemachus. Like, man, what am I going to do with my kid? I can't just take him out there with me. It's too dangerous. I got an idea. Runs over to his buddy's house, knocks on the door, knock, knock, knock. Hey, mentor. That's his friend's name. His friend's name is Mentor. Hey, mentor, I'm going on this long journey, right? I'm going to fight these bad guys off. I'm going to slay the Cyclops. I'm going to win the victory, right? While I'm gone, can you look out for my son, Telemachus, for me? Can you raise him up? Be there for him like I will be there for him. Can you ensure his success and do whatever is necessary to help him get there? That's where this term mentor comes from. Just think about the gravity of that. A man leaving town to go fight, not knowing if he's coming back, and telling somebody else, hey, look out for my boy and make sure he's successful. That's where the term mentor comes from. You need one of those. You need one of those people. So when I'm talking about getting a mentor, I'm not talking about just somebody who gives you advice. I'm not talking about just somebody who can tell you what courses to take. I'm talking about somebody who was going to say, hey, if you don't make it, that's on me. It's my responsibility. I see people all the time saying, oh, yeah, I'm mentoring 50 kids. No, you're not. You're not mentoring 50 kids. Because mentorship is a real relationship. It's a real thing. It's a difficult thing. It's an investment. It's an emotional investment. It's a time investment. It's an intellectual investment. You need to find somebody who's willing to make those investments in you. If you call them at 2 a.m., they'll pick up the phone. Like Dr. Ellis Ingram, my great mentor. I talk about him in the book, why I wrote this book, why I'm so passionate about mentorship and helping the next generation, etc. Right? He was a big trigger for all that. If I call him at 2 a.m. and need something, he'll answer the phone. Right? I'm not going to do that. But the point is, he's been there for me since I was 18 years old, and he's still there for me. Right? He's still there for me. Over 20 years later, etc. He's still there for me as a mentor, invested in my life to help me along my journey for success. That's what you need as a pre-medical student. Right? Somebody invested in you. The problem is it's hard to get that. It's hard to find the right people. Advising is great. You need some of that too, but find a mentor, somebody who cares about you on a personal level, right? The lack of a mentor can prevent you from achieving your goals. Definitely prevent you from achieving to your fullest potential. And number 5, the fifth thing that can prevent you from getting into medical school or becoming a medical doctor Lack of resources. Lack of resources. Now, this is a difficult one. We have our Black Men and White Coats, our White Coats Youth Summits all across the country. I mean, we're literally from Cali to New York. We're all across the country, right? And the summits are great. We help a lot of people, but there's always one thing that bothers me at these summits that I haven't figured out yet. How can I make sure all the youth that want to become doctors get the resources that they need? So we give away a lot of stuff. We give a lot of free stuff, right? Pre-med Mondays. By the way, you guys make sure you join in our Monday night meetings, right? Every Monday night, we have a meeting for Pre-med Mondays, right? We give you guys guidance, wisdom advising, accountability, community, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure you guys are joining that. So we give away a lot of free stuff to help them. But the one thing that I haven't figured out how to do is give them all the resources they need. What does that mean? A test called the MCAT you got to take to get into med school, the Medical College Admissions Test, right? You need resources to do well on that, right? You need the study material, the books, even prep course, right? You need resources, meaning money to pay to take the test, right? Sometimes you can get fee waivers, etc. You need resources to apply to medical school, right? You need resources in college. You need resources. Lack of resources can be your downfall. It can prevent you from getting to where you want to get to in life, specifically if you're a pre-medical student to get to med school. So what do you do about that? You start planning early. If you know you're going to need this resource X amount of years down the line, start planning for it early. This is why having a mentor is so important. Having guidance and wisdom is so important because they can help you plan so you don't get hit by any surprises. The issue that I run into with a lot of you, my pre-med friends, is by the time you realize you need something, you're already at the point when you need it. And what I need you guys to do is realize you're going to need it years in advance so you can start preparing and planning for it in advance, right? Which is why I'm making these videos, and which is why we do Pre-Med Mondays. You guys got to stick with this. Go through this stuff because you want to know, what am I going to need when I'm applying to medical school? What am I going to need when I'm a fourth year medical? What am I going to need when I'm a doctor? What am I going to, and it changes as you go through life. When I was a pre-medical student, I was so concerned about getting all A's, the MCAT, right? When you're in med school, you were still going to get the grades, get your board scores, but now you're concerned about, okay, who do I need to connect to get specialty? You become a resident, same thing. Who do I need to connect to? What specialty do I want to go to? What research do I need to do to get into that specialty? You become a fully practicing doctor. Things start to change, right? Oh my goodness, I've been studying for med school so long and being in my training, I haven't thought about life. I got to start saving money. I got kids. I got to plan for your college, right? So at every stage, the resources you need will change. They'll evolve. And the way you don't get blindsided is by knowing what those resources are going to be way in advance so you can start planning for them in advance, right? So don't let lack of resources be the thing that holds you back and slows you down. Begin to plan for these things way in advance. All right. Hey, let's recap these 5 things, right? So 5 things that could prevent you from becoming a medical doctor. Number 1, lack of confidence, right? Don't get smacked, get a bad grade on the test or something like that and completely lose your confidence and think you can't do it. You can't do it. Read my sweater, right? Permission to be great. You guys know that's my thing. You have permission to be great. I believe God created us all with greatness inside of us. You can do it. Keep your confidence up. Number 2, but don't be overconfident, right? So overconfidence can prevent you from getting it because you might get too much pride in you. You don't want to ask for help. Always be willing to ask for help. Number 3, lack of discipline. You got to be consistent in what you're doing. You got to focus. You got to be disciplined in your study, disciplined in your exercise, disciplined in your diet, disciplined in your faith. Keep your discipline. Number 4, lack of mentorship. You got to have somebody there who is fully invested in your life and they say your success is their success and they are sold out to help you, completely there for you. And number 5, lack of resources. Don't get blindsided by the lack of resources at the time that you need the resources. Plan ahead so that does not happen to you. Those are 5 things that can prevent you from becoming a medical doctor. All right. So y'all know every week I give y'all an assignment. This week's assignment is this, right? And this one pertains to number 2, the overconfidence, right? Because a lot of pre-medical people, you did well in high school, et cetera, and you're confident. You got a lot of confidence. Keep your confidence. Don't be overconfident. So this week's assignment is what can you use help with? What can you use help with? Figure out something you need help with. And here's the important part. Ask for help. Ask for help. All right, fam. Hey, make sure you hit that subscribe button every week. I'm bringing this stuff to you guys. I'm going to be giving you stuff that honestly, if you stick with it, can be transforming, stuff that can transform your life. And again, the Pre-Med Mondays group, we meet on Monday nights, at least at the time of this recording. Who knows? You might watch this video like 20 years from now. We might not be meeting anymore. But right now, at the time of this recording, we've been meeting for the past 5-6 years or something every Monday nights. Pre-meds come in there, accountability, wisdom, guidance, trying to make sure you guys can get to where you want to get to in life. All right. So 2 things to do really fast. Number 1, hit that subscribe button. Going to keep on bringing you this great information, this great knowledge. Number 2, YouTube's going to show you some videos right around here. It might be on this side, might be on this side. I don't know, but it's going to show you some videos around here because they know what you like. Go ahead and click on that video. Keep learning, keep growing. Remember, check out the sweater. You have permission to be great, right? So keep learning, all right? Hey, love you guys. See you next time.